So just now leaving Pelican, heading north on Lysianski Inlet, and it's about 4:45 on Saturday, July 17th, 2021. So there's the ferry LeConte coming out from behind that little islet, and that is the boat that I came to Pelican on. Look at that stubby little thing. It's my favorite ferry. Well, I think this is our campsite for tonight, first night of the trip. This is, let's see, Lysianski Strait, looking down towards the North Pacific there, and you can see my kayaks on the shore there. A little bit of a creek coming in here, and I think I'm going to set my hammock up in that bunch of trees over there. There's a couple of places where I could hang it, and then I think this is going to be the kitchen here. There's this nice little rocky outcropping, which should be a little bit more exposed to the wind, which probably means slightly fewer bugs. Looking up Stag Bay here, and it is just pretty and mysterious in the clouds. It's raining a little bit today. Woke up to a little bit of rain this morning, and it's gotten a little bit harder, but it's not too bad. And of course, I'm in my dry suit, so I'm dry. Down there is the open Pacific. Maybe another 6 or 7 miles. And the plan today is to get there and then start working my way right north along the outer shoreline of Yakobi Island. I just took my lunch on this little tiny gravel beach here, and it's still raining, but I just thought I should take a minute and get a little video. This is looking down Lysianski Strait, and you can see we're looking out into the open ocean there. So getting close to the turning point, and feeling excited and a little apprehensive. And it's still raining, but man, the paddling conditions are just perfect. You can see the water out here is just super flat. You can see all those white trunks. I do think those are Alaska yellow cedar. The deal with the Alaskan yellow cedar seems to be that they're dying off because the winters are warmer and there's less snow and their roots are exposed, and then when it does get cold, their roots freeze. So here we are. This is Point Theodore, and that is the North Pacific Ocean. What a different landscape. These are not very big swells, but man, they feel different than these swells feel different than the chop we get in the inside passages. Anyways, this is Green Top Harbor. There used to be a cannery back in there, and now there's a Forest Service cabin, and I think there were two, maybe now there's one privately owned cabin, and not much else. Beautiful spot. A little bit of a maze back in there, and I think we're going to try to head through here. I'm not 100% sure if we can get through. This is Squid Bay behind me, and you can see the clouds are starting to clear off, and that's really the first sense that I've gotten of the kind of vertical relief in this area. I'm just totally surrounded by sea otters right now. There are like all kinds of sea otters around. There was one in front of me there. There was one swimming out there. They all seem to have hidden. Oh, there's one right there. He's so close. Hey, buddy. Kind of a neat example of wind sculpting. You can see here the trees and grass and shrubs on this island have that sort of teardrop, half a teardrop shape, and I'm pretty sure that's because that islet just gets hammered by wind in the wintertime coming from the west and southwest. And this little tiny cove, which is just inside the mouth, the south side of Surge Bay. There's Surge Bay out there, and back into the right, which is, I'm looking north now, or northwest-ish, and so that's kind of back into the northeast is Surge Bay. And there's this nice shallow beach here. There's a little more beach over on the other side of this rocky outcropping. You can see that. I'm in Surge Bay, which was, really good progress for yesterday. I didn't think I'd make it quite that far. I thought it would be neat to just give a little bit of a shot and an update based on kind of from my hammock setup here. I'm not especially early. That's early for me. It's about 7:15, and it's a pretty late night last night. It got in at about 8, and I think I was in bed about 10:30 or 11. Read for a little while, and this is my hammock spot. So one nice thing about the hammock is you need two kind of nicely spaced trees, and it's certainly better if these trees are pretty sturdy, but you don't necessarily need flat ground. And so this is the beach where I set up my campsite. Looks like there might have been some deer visitors here last night after I went to bed. That's interesting. There's some tracks on the beach, and there are lots of deer tracks here when I got in last night, including mostly deer tracks but some bear tracks. But these look a little fresher. You can see my kayak there, and you might be able to see where my PFD and my dry suit are hanging up in the woods there. That's where I had my hammock last night. And then this is my kitchen setup over here, so you can see I've got the tarp set up. So I'm just pulling out of my campsite from last night here in Surge Bay. And I just thought it would be neat to get a shot from the water. This is what it looked like coming in last night. Of course, I was coming in the opposite direction. That has got to be Mount Fairweather up there. That thing is gigantic. So you can see we're looking at over the Gulf of Alaska on the very western end of Cross Sound, out over Surge Bay. My campsite is just behind me. I just started moving this morning. I knew it might be dry because it's low, or it's getting really close to low, and it is indeed dry. So I'm not going to paddle all the way around. The beach is sand, part of it anyways, and so I think, and it's not too far, so I think I should be able to just drag the boat over. That's a beautiful potential campsite. We're not going to camp here, but we'll take a lunch break, or I don't know. What is a lunch break? What is reality? We'll take a break here, and I'll finish my coffee. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is probably Yakobi rock. Look at all those birds on that thing. And you can see the Cape Spencer Lighthouse on the far side of Cross Sound, just that little white blotch just above the water line. Well, I've got the sail up now. We're into Cross Sound, and the wind isn't quite as strong as it was this morning, but maybe it'll pick up again. It's supposed to get windy tonight. But it's behind me now, or at least over my shoulder. And then up here you can see that's Chichagof Island across Lisiansky Inlet. And then I think that's, let's see what, looking up towards Elfin Cove, George Island up there. Yeah, anyways, really cool, beautiful scenery. A little bit of current helping me out here too, which is kind of cool. Dang. And this is beautiful. Look at this. Hate to say it, might be the prettiest part of the trip so far. Might not have needed to go all the way around the outside of Yakobi to get to this. This is really close to the opening of Lisiansky Inlet. Nevertheless, great paddle so far. Hard to complain. the striking Three Hill Island, maybe a little hard to see in the video, which is near Elfin Cove, which is like over in there. And this is Port Althorpe, and I made pretty good time. I actually didn't move that fast up until about maybe an hour and a half ago, but I wound up putting up the sail and was moving along really good. In fact, frighteningly fast. That is a nifty view of Taylor Bay and Brady Glacier with the mountains behind it. And you can also see on the end of this island in front of us, which is George Island, there's a little spot of light through there. There's a natural arch there at the end with those trees growing on top of it. So that's kind of a cool thing. This is the Indian Islands that I'm camped at here. This is my campsite, and this is my campsite. And I'm probably this morning going to paddle up that away and check out the Hobbit Hole, which is where if I understand correctly, where the Indian Islands Institute is located. And then I'll head back down here, and then I'll take a left, and I'll be fighting the tide for part of the afternoon. Tide's pretty strong through here. Tidal currents are pretty strong, but then the wind should be helping me out quite a bit. So, and then the plan is to keep moving west. So just one last look out towards Cross Sound and into the North Pacific. There'll probably be a couple of spots going forward where I'll be able to see the open ocean from here, but only little bits and briefly. That's probably the last real view of it we'll get. We'll be paddling in Icy Strait today. This is looking out towards Chichagof Island, the northern coast of Chichagof Island there. You can see those clouds coming over the mountain. And then we're going to be rounding this point, and there should be a pretty strong tidal current against us for a couple hours, and then it'll slack off, and then at a certain point in the evening we'll have help. So I'm taking a little bit of a late lunch break. It's almost 3 now, and I'm looking back at that's the Indian Islands and South Indian Pass there, and then you can see North Indian Pass right about there, and that is also looking back, I think, into the mouth of Dundas Bay, and right maybe below that that mountain that's covered in a cloud. That's where Dundas Point is, and that's where Jason Amundsen got bumped by that humpback whale. What was that, maybe 2 years ago, on a similar kayak trip. And then I'm on Shaw Island here, and this actually looks like it would make a pretty nice campsite, but it's a little early for me to stop. I think I'm going to keep moving. That's where I'm heading. There's a boat out there you can see. I'm probably pointing for the boat. I want to keep the wind behind me. The wind's coming from the west, and we'll just had a little bit of a headwind paddling up into the island here for a break, and I'm hoping to keep that to a minimum this afternoon. I'm quite tired, really feeling it after a long day yesterday, so a little light. That might be the second one. There's the second one. I wish I had my head mount. I'd be able to paddle and watch at the same time. So that's Glacier Bay right there. It's the opening to Glacier Bay. That's Gustavus. Gustavus is over there on that point of land, kind of near that point of land. You just barely see through the haze Pleasant Island. And then over here is Lemmershire, maybe Lemisurier, but Lemisure Island as the Alaskans call it. And this off to my left is Mud Bay, and it has gotten choppy. I was getting a little bit white-knuckly coming in here. I was worried that I was going to have to land on this beach with breaking surf, but it turns out there's basically no surf in this spot here where I landed, although I'm a little bit afraid maybe I picked the wrong spot to take out. But I'm going to explore a little bit and figure out what the best place to be is. So here I am again this morning in, well, near Mud Bay. This is the same spot I was at last night, of course, and man, the conditions look awful different. Nice calm water. You can see that's the mouth of Glacier Bay right out beyond that point there. Here's Lemisure Island out in front of me, and then Mud Bay. It's over here off to the left. And my plan A for this trip was to take out at Juneau on the 26th. And it's the 21st now, and Junau's only about 20 miles away. So my plan B was to continue on and paddle on for Juneau. And so I think the plan for today is to get as close to Juneau as I can. If I can get to It has been just absolutely glassy all morning, and I'm starting to feel a little touch of a breeze, and that's great. I'll use the breeze, but I just wanted to capture these conditions before they go away. This is well, I made a change of plans, and originally I was going to paddle from Point Adolphus back there to Port Frederick, which is where Juneau is located, and I would have camped on one of those islands probably over there. And I got to Point Adolphus and just decided that the weather was so perfect for crossing, and this is actually the shortest place where I can cross between the south and north side of Icy Strait, that I was gonna cross today rather than waiting for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Sailing into the Porpoise Islands, I was mostly paddle sailing, but moving along okay here with just the sail. I thought I would just take a minute to take some video. This is just outside of Excursion Inlet, actually, which you can't see at the minute because this island blocks it. I spooked these seals over here. Now they've all... Oh yeah, they're there. Maybe you can see them. Now they're all... When I came through here just a few minutes ago, it seemed like there was a dozen oyster catchers running around. And now I only see these two. But boy, they are so handsome. Aren't you handsome guys? Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a huge amount of battery power on the camera right now. I didn't charge it up last night. I probably should have done that. But I just thought it would be another good time to check in and update on my progress, which is moving along. So I'm here at the mouth of Excursion Inlet. That's Excursion Inlet down there. Can't see Couverton there, but Couverton is kind of around that point, another couple of miles, and that's my objective for tonight. And then, sorry for the waviness of the camera, but this is the Porpoise Islands back here, which is where I spent the night. And you can actually see I camped kind of on the right hand side of that long island. Got sandpipers in there, I think, as well as a bunch of other birds that I don't recognize, and there's a couple of oyster catchers. So that is Sisters Island out there, and there's a cruise ship behind it and next to it, and that has got to be one of the first cruise ships in Southeast Alaska in like 2 years. That's a big ship too. It's the first one I've seen on this trip. Unrelated, but Man, the forecast weather finally arrived. We finally got these strong easterlies, 15 knots. I can see, been able to see for quite some time, whitecaps out in the middle of the strait there, but only just recently rounded a corner where I was exposed to the wind myself. So I actually had pretty good paddling, a little bit of a headwind, but not too bad most of the morning. And now I'm really exposed to the brunt of it. And actually, so it's Friday the 23rd. And I'm standing on the shore right near the new Howard Bay Couverton cabin, which is right over there, actually just behind that clump of trees on the left-hand side of that gravel spit. And I came in here late last night. I was hoping that nobody would be in the cabin, but of course somebody was there, so I wound up camping back here under the trees. Actually found a pretty comfortable spot. This is the kayak here. I've got everything kind of laid out. I don't know about laid out, but got my food bags, got my sleeping quilt and my hammock in those compression stuff sacks there. You can see a can of bear spray and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm going to pack the boat up now and gonna head out. We'll see how far we get today. I go and realized it's probably been visible for a while, but I realized that you can see Point Retreat and the Point Retreat lighthouse there. This low peninsula, it turns out, this finger of land stretching off to the left, which is north, that's the Mansfield Peninsula, which is part of Admiralty Island, and the Point Retreat lighthouse is there. Let's see, Point Retreat was named Point Retreat because that was where I believe it was Joseph Whidbey, who was, I'm going to get this wrong, but Vancouver's first mate, was mapping this area, and he got to that point, and he was intercepted by a group of locals, and he decided they looked angry, and so he decided to turn around. So they called it Point Retreat. Well, I've finished the crossing over from the Chilkat Peninsula and Howard Bay to Admiralty Island. And I'm moving along the shore here, and I think I'm in an eddy because the current is with me, and I don't think the current is supposed to be with me. I think the tide is coming out, not going in still. Although it looks awfully low, doesn't it? So maybe it's bottomed out already. And here we are with the sail up. Haven't capsized yet. And there's the Point Retreat light. So we're moving on and making progress. I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't get a better shot of the Point Retreat lighthouses as I went by. It's a pretty spot. There's North Pass, Lincoln and Shelter Islands. Here's Hump Island over here, and St. James Bay is over that away. And it just has turned into a really pretty calm night. It was a little... This is my campsite from last night. Pretty late and getting dark again when I got in here. We're on Admiralty Island. That's Shelter Island over there. And let's see, these are the Barlow Islands, and this is Barlow Cove back in here. That's about where Juneau is located, downtown Juneau. And I'm probably about 8 miles away from my pullout today.